You're listening to Superpowers of the Soul on the Superpower Up Podcast, the show that elevates superpowers to the divine.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Jennifer Urezzio, and I am a superpower expert and founder of Soul Language, and this is Superpowers of the Soul. And today I'm with Evanston, and the topic is conscious activity of power and self-love. Welcome, Anne.
Hi, Jennifer. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited you are here.
Me too.
So, the first question I ask all of the guests are, what do you consider the superpower of your soul?
Mm-hmm. I believe that the superpower of my soul is revealing self-love, and especially showing women how to get to a place of not just self-esteem, but true self-love.
Love that. So how does that kind of superpower, how does that work into whatever you call your sacred purpose?
For me, my sacred purpose has a couple of components to it that I've realized my whole life, which is always interesting to me, and that I have always been able to see everybody's unlimited space and potential. It's like an aura or an energy, in that we are not limited in what we can do, and there's so much more that people aren't seeing in themselves, and I have this ability to see it. And with that comes this ability to hold a container or a space for people to feel safe to explore that. So for me, that's really my sacred purpose.
Love that. So, Soul usually shares a common theme with us amongst our journey. What has been some of the common themes that your soul has shared with you?
Well, the funny part is that I'm constantly on this journey.
Aren't we all?
So, you think, I have finally figured out my potential, or I have finally figured out, the highest energy of an expression of self-love. And then you realize, no, there's actually more. There's more potential. And I think that a big part for me is that I have to constantly be aware of that journey and be okay with that journey. And when things are reflected to me, to consciously be open to that. For example, becoming I'm a midlife woman now. And becoming a midlife woman, for years in my career, I've said to women, who are you, alone, naked, by yourself, in front of the mirror with just the thoughts in your head? And becoming older, my body has changed. I was a little powerhouse workout girl, size 0, 14% body fat, all muscle in my teens, 20s, early 30s. And now I'm rounder and curvier and saggier and, fluffier, if you will. And even just being able to get back in front of that mirror again and be able to say, okay, how am I vibrating self-love? How am I learning to love the body that I'm in now?
Yeah, that's a huge thing. And I think that, also talks about constant acceptance, right? And, because in your mind, you're still the 20-year-old, right?
Yeah.
And then when you look in the mirror, you're like, I'm not that. What was that about?
Yeah. When did she show up? That's my mom.
Yeah, exactly. I've had those moments too.
Yes.
So how does all of this, your sacred purpose, your superpower, all of this knowledge about your journey, how does it show up in your work and in your kind of business world?
Mm-hmm. It's interesting because I've always done this work, but I've gone through phases in my life where I felt like it wasn't center stage or didn't need to be center stage. Early in my career, I was a youth counselor. I worked with abused and neglected teenage girls. So it was very much center stage back then. I used to speak on stages in the late 90s doing stress management for women type topics, and it showed up in that space. And then I would do underlying business work because of my success of being a coach and a speaker with other people who want to do that. And they think they want to know how to speak and sell on stage, but really what they need to learn how to do is be comfortable with being visible. Learning how to have your voice and not let the critics get you down. A lot of that
internal and external.
Yes. Yeah. And so for me, what's really happened in my own journey, in my career, and my work is that now influence, self-worth, personal power stands center stage. I just flat out own it. And, you can come to me and say, well, I want to work with you, Anne, and it's really because I need to interview better. I don't think I speak up for myself well enough. And guess what? I'm going to tell you that we need to do the interpersonal work. And that's been a beautiful part of my journey, to have it truly just show up 100% of the time.
I love that. Mm-hmm. And, that also feeds into the next question about how your soul supports others. I mean, I've known you for years. It's the first time I've heard about, the younger Anne, about the work as a younger individual. And so how has your soul supporting others, how has it widened and deepened, over the years of doing your own interpersonal journey?
I think that how it's really widened and deepened for me is, number one, I'm obviously extremely intuitive because I have this gift to be able to read others and what they're meant to be in the world. And I used to just blurt that out. I didn't care if people were ready to hear it or not, which 90% of the time they're not. And now I've learned how to work with and deal with people who think they're ready, but they're not. How to bring them along, or be able to say, it's okay where you're at right now is perfectly okay. And how do you love where you're at right now and feel fabulous with that? And that for me has been a great awareness to my soul purpose and to my sacred being of what's been given to me as a gift, and that just willingness to listen and be present and not have to say anything about what I am consciously connecting with the individual and what's going on for them.
Yeah, that's huge. So we are going to be back in 1 second, but before we pause for our break, how do people get to know more about you? How do they get a deeper sense of Anne? Where can they go to learn and to kind of play with you?
I'm really easy to find if you spell my name correctly. So it's ANN and then the last name Evanston, EVANSTON. That'll lead you to my website, my social media, my YouTube, all of those kind of things if you just type that into Google. And I'm very much an open book. I love people to connect on whatever platform makes them most comfortable.
Beautiful. Well, everyone, just hold on, and we're going to get back, and we're going to talk more to Anne and talk more about our topic, conscious activity of power and self-love.
Are you here to change the world? Do you talk about things like vibration, frequency, awakening, and consciousness? Are you pretty sure you have superpowers? The Superpower Net is unlike normal coaching programs and conscious communities. We provide training, intuitive guidance, peer-to-peer learning, intensive one-on-one coaching, and a high vibrational network of people just like you. When you join the net, you get 24/7 access to a collaborative group of people who support you as you master your personal power and unlock your superpowers. If you're ready to use your superpowers to change the world, then join the Superpower Net today. Visit superpowerexperts.com/thenet to learn more.
Welcome back to the Superpowers of the Soul. I'm Jennifer Urezzio, and I'm with Anne Evanston, and we are talking about conscious activity of power and self-love. And we hear a lot about self-love. And, I roll my eyes because nobody really knows what that means. Mm-hmm. So let's define what we're talking about here when we talk about self-love.
Well, and this is my work from graduate school. So I really looked at the evolution of self-love, because we talk a lot about self-esteem, and self-esteem is not self-love. They're really very different things. And self-esteem is the first step towards the evolution of self-love, if you will. For me, self-love has to do, and it's the highest expression of love, and it has to do with the fact that you're no longer in a place of comparison of others. You are in a conscious space of always learning how to accept yourself, and true acceptance of you, strengths, weaknesses, goods, bads, true acceptance of yourself. That critic is off, if you will. And it's also, though, the highest expression of self-love is also being able to accept and appreciate how others want to be in your life versus how you think they should be in your life and how you think they should show up. And to be able to be in a space of acceptance and appreciation of others, whether you agree or not with them. So that is a super high vibrational level and the truest expression of self-love.
Beautiful. I would agree with everything you said. And I think that, it's a practice and it's a deepening and it's a, kind of weeding out where you are non-acceptance and then tuning in and, doing all those practices and tools that we collect to actually come into deeper, love. I mean, I think that people are confused about conditional and unconditional love, because there's no such thing as conditional love. Mm-hmm. Right? If you're in conditions, you're in some other consciousness, and I will keep repeating that more and more so people understand that. Mm-hmm. So when we talk about conscious activity of power and self-love, what does that mean? How do we consciously participate? How do we take action so we're experiencing more of our power and more self-love?
Mm-hmm. Conscious connection is an interesting one. You and I speak to it frequently. So many people are going through day to day on such a subconscious level. They just don't even realize how much they are, to the point where traffic can determine whether you have a good day or a bad day. That's a subconscious level on a simple level of not being aware of who you are in your moment and fully sensually connected. I think the word being sensual and sensual connection has gotten a bad rap because people associate it with sexual, and it's not. Sensual is about how are you conscious via all your senses. How are you making sure that in any moment you are fully present, not just mind, body, and soul, but with your eyes and with your ears and with your nose and with your touch, and you're fully engaged in what you're doing in that moment. And that is the key to start to practice that more and more, to stop yourself for a moment and say, am I connected in this moment? Or am I distracted and looking at my emails? Or am I, right? If I'm cooking, am I really thinking about something else? Or am I fully engaged in the experience of cooking? When we do that, everything else goes away. The problems, the worries, the stress, because we're so
in it.
So in.
Yeah, and so often I think highly intuitive, highly innovative people spend a lot of time, kind of separating their energy. They're in past, they're in present, they're, creating this in their head, they're thinking about that. And I often think, or often with clients, kind of a situation to let you know that you're not being conscious in your activity is not being aware or not feeling like you're in your body.
Yeah, and you're so right. I said recently to a woman, we were doing a video chat, and I said, I meet so many people, and my visual was to take my hands, in video, you usually just get shoulders and above, right? I took my hands and I leaned forward, so just my head, not even my shoulders, and cut myself off at my neck. And I said, most people are only from my neck up. They're from their neck up. They're not in their body. They're not in their heart. They don't even know what they're feeling, let alone why they're feeling, right? And that fully grounding and getting into your body and your soul and your heart, and reconnecting that is so critical to express self-love.
Yeah, and it also, because you're making then decisions not based on pattern or suffering or pain or a belief system that's unsustainable. You're making that decision, you're being or in that experience through the consciousness of love, because when you are totally present, all there is. There's not past, there's not future. You are just connected, and so divine expression has an easier pathway.
Yeah.
So what would be a kind of tool? I'm all about the tangible tools and tips. What would be a tool or a kind of advice that you can offer for people to start being more conscious in conscious activity, so they can really experience more power and self-love?
One thing I recommend, and it sounds crazy, but sometimes crazy is what we need. Mirrors are a really good way to start to consciously connect. We rarely look at ourselves in the mirror, maybe in the morning, and then again, all the subconscious critic is there, right? Instead of conscious beauty and love. And that ability to start looking at your face and look yourself in the eyes. So put a mirror by your desk or above your computer. Put more mirrors in your house. Turn your rear view mirror to yourself when you're in your car. Look yourself in the eyes, because the eyes are the window into the body, the soul, the heart of you. And from there, it's very simple to look at yourself and energetically share some love to yourself. Say, I love you. I love this moment I'm in. Anything like that out loud is a great way to start consciously connecting to the soul.
Agreed. And I love that. And also, that's a hard one to do. And I love that it's a challenge one to do, because that act in itself has to do a lot of self-love in that act of actually looking and being present with yourself and looking into your own eyes and doing that. A lot of people just do that rush by the mirror thing.
Yeah, I have, this activity has been in my book for years, to just look yourself in the eyes and say, I like you. Let's not even go to I love you. Just say, I like you.
Yeah.
And I have had women over the years who have messaged me and said, I could not do it in the beginning. I would look away every time, or I'd laugh or giggle, yet I stayed committed to every day doing it, and how much has changed for me with that learning to connect with myself.
Love that. So once again, let everyone know how to get in touch with you before I ask the last two questions here.
Okay. So look me up online wherever you like, Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm happy to connect. Spelling of my name is the key. It's Ann, A-N-N, last name Evanston, E-V-A-N-S-T-O-N. And that'll lead you to my website and any of my social media.
Beautiful. What has been one of the most kind of profound experiences that you've had kind of stepping into this conscious activity?
I think one of the most profound experiences, honestly, is being in a committed relationship.
Yeah, that's a big one.
I really have to say that, because it's easy to get comfortable in a committed relationship and to not be conscious in a committed relationship. And I went through that with a man that I adore, Earl. We've been married 21 years now. And I remember one day he just said to me, I'm 1 foot out the door. And it was this stab to my chest, right? Because I just thought we were good. I mean, and this is where you get in that phase where you don't put on pretty underwear anymore, or you forget to shower for several days, or you don't talk. You do other things when you're out and about or eating dinner, right? You don't have conversation. You don't cuddle. You barely touch each other every day. But I thought we were good. I thought we loved each other. And he said, I love you, but this isn't enough. And that was that moment where I'm like, okay, wait a minute. If I really want great relationships, for me, that's selfish. If I want them for me, I have to be present in relationships with people.
Yeah, I would agree. I think, Warner has been not at home. He's been staying at his parents' more for work reasons. And he's like, you're being so loving to me lately. And I'm like, I'm always loving. He's like, yeah. And I was like, because I miss you. And I'm like, okay, so we all know that this is going to shift again, and he's going to spend more time, at home. So that means that this, new awakening of really being present with him and doing all those things, that has to continue. Because if it doesn't, then I'm letting things down.
Yeah.
So how cool is that? So thank you so much for that new awareness as well. So my last question is simply, if you were a refrigerator on Universe, Tree, Bob, God, Cupcake, whatever you call that higher powers refrigerator, what would it say?
Okay, say the question again.
Sure.
Who in the refrigerator?
If you were a magnet on God's refrigerator, what would it say?
It would say, get over the insatiable need to be liked by everyone.
Love it. Love that. How cool is that? So one more time, how do people get in touch with you?
Ann, A-N-N, Evanston, E-V-A-N-S-T-O-N.
Love that. And thank you again so much, Ann, for just being a part of my life, for being a support in my life, and for being on the show. I'm really appreciative.
Me too, Jennifer. This I have chills that you and I got to do this together. I know we interweave in our lives in different ways, and this is just another way of connecting us together, and I appreciate it very much.
Yay!
Yay.
And if you liked anything you heard today, you can connect with me and all the other experts in the Superpower Net at superpowerexperts.com/the-net to find out more. And of course, find your connection and remember that you are whole and complete. And I will talk to you next time.
Are you ready to discover your superpowers? Go now to superpowerexperts.com and take the Superpower Quiz today.